Born of nuclear radiation and destined to walk the earth forever, welcome to Godzilla Reviewthon! What's up, YouTubers of the world? MegaGeek makes it here to give you guys the 7th installment to the Godzilla franchise, Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster, or as it's known in Japan, Ebirah Horror of the Deep. Now this is a very off-tracker way of Godzilla, mostly because, let's just say Godzilla's not really much in character in this, but let's only talk about that at the end of this video when I review it, and let's just talk about the story itself. Now, as I explained in the after Ghidorah the three-headed monster, he was starting to be leaned more towards a hero. Ghidorah the three-headed monster was the starting point for him as a hero, and then Invasion of the Astro Monsters, he was more anti-hero-ish. Like Ghidorah the three-headed monster and Invasion of the Astro Monsters, he was more of an anti-hero who's broken his role into a hero. And now here in this film, he starts to be more on the hero's side of things. Basically, this film takes place on an island. And the way it starts off is that there's been an accident. One of the main characters, a kid named Rota, is looking for a boat. Then he finds two characters who find him a boat that also houses another character. I forget most of these guys' names. This is just a first showing to show y'all how much I didn't care for this film. But either case, they all end up eventually sailing out to sea because Rota is determined to find his brother who was lost out at sea. And this is how it ends up going, where during their time out in sea, they are attacked by Ebirah. Ebirah uses his claw to destroy their ship. They wash up ashore on the island, and while there, they ended up finding it's inhabited by a bunch of soldiers who seem to be interested in what is called nuclear weapons, building nuclear weapons, which is what they find out when they infiltrate the place. But I'm getting a little ahead of myself here, guys. But before all that happens, we find out that these soldiers kidnapped some natives from Infant Island. How do we know that? Well, we know that through the main character of the natives named Dio, who ends up escaping when one of her two native men try to escape the island, but they end up getting attacked by Ebirah. You see, the island's guarded by Ebirah, so it's hard to escape that island. Either case, though, Dio was able to escape, find those sailors, and they all ended up having to unite together to stay away from those soldiers, which they do. They come across a cave, and that cave is where they find Godzilla is there sleeping. Oh, they didn't know that at first until later on, but not so important. Either case, they end up trying to go to the factory where those soldiers are at. By the way, the soldiers are called the Red Bamboo, and they infiltrated to find out that, yeah, they're conducting nuclear tests. They find that out by finding a nuclear reactor in there. They eventually, though, get caught, but they're able to escape. Well, at least some of them. One of them gets caught, but eventually some of them who are able to escape come up with the idea of letting Godzilla be awakened so he could occupy them and not make them come looking for them. Which works out to their advantage, because that's exactly what happens, and it's because of Godzilla that Ebirah is kept at bay as well. But eventually, the next day, while Godzilla had fought Ebirah and beaten him that night, the next day, he ends up finding the Red Bamboo soldiers and Dio. Eventually, when Godzilla finds those people, he ends up finding their factory and pretty much destroying it. But eventually, after he's destroyed it, Ebirah comes back up and he challenges them to a rematch. Godzilla beats them by just ripping off his claws, his crab-like claws, and Ebirah just pretty much runs away. All in all, though, as I mentioned before, though, about the natives that were captured by the Red Bamboo soldiers, well, they're from Infant Island, and on Infant Island, during the whole time during the movie, they're praying to Mothra so she can wake up and she can go and rescue her people on the Devil's Island. which she eventually does. No, not before her and Godzilla have a little tussle, and she pretty much pushes Godzilla away and grabs everybody and leaves the island, and Godzilla's the last to leave the island before it explodes. And that's pretty much what this movie is all about. There's really not much to it, in fact. As a matter of fact, when I talk to you guys about how Godzilla's out of character, well, that's because this film was supposed to be about King Kong, not Godzilla. They did a little, Toho did a little replacement of King Kong, who was originally meant for this film, when the people who owned King Kong were also doing something else and wanted the film to be tied into the movie. Toho didn't go in that direction, so they just replaced King Kong with Godzilla. And pretty much during this movie, you could tell that, yeah, Godzilla is having the personalities of King Kong. For one, he wakes up because of electricity, and it's electricity was supposed to make King Kong stronger, not Godzilla. But also because when he sees Dio, he doesn't attack or do anything that's really Godzilla-like. He just sits there and just watches and then eventually falls asleep. And almost he was showing like he had a romantic interest in her. And as everybody knows, that is not Godzilla. Godzilla doesn't show any interest in humans whatsoever. He doesn't even respect humans. He usually just bypasses them and bees on his way. But either case, also really, there's that. You also got the monsters. Ebra, the giant lobster, and then this big giant bird that attacked Godzilla after he was looking at Dio. Yeah, that's just showing that this was all meant to be King Kong, because a giant lobster, a giant bird taking on a radioactive monster. No, no. But yeah, this is pretty much showing that these guys who were on the production of this film weren't putting any effort in it, really. And the Godzilla suit itself looked like it was pretty much falling apart, because you could just tell by looking at it. And how they used the special effects and everything showed that this film, they weren't trying to put so much effort into it. And it's all pretty much noticeable there, but what can you do here? It's not like they're always going to put all their efforts into every film they make. There's been many other films where they haven't done that. But that's pretty much all I'll say for it, guys. This film, not really that much important in the Godzilla franchise. It's just a movie there for just a little bit of show, for a little fun and everything. Nothing really tying into the main story. But either case, that'll be all for today, guys. And if you enjoy my videos, all you gotta do is click the subscribe button, hit the bell icon to be notified when I make more videos. And I'll be seeing you guys when I review Son of Godzilla and the Godzilla Reviewthon! Until then, MegaGeek Mixer signing out. Bye!